In our last episode, we killed all the super mutants in Fort Strong and recovered a stockpile of mini-nukes for the Brotherhood of Steel. Then we built a signal interceptor with Proctor Ingram and stepped on the pad to make our way, hopefully, to the Institute. But there is one more faction we can work with to build a signal interceptor. And that faction is, of course, the Railroad. When we last left the Railroad, they helped us decipher the data on the Courser chip so that we could give it to Virgil so that he could build a signal interceptor. At the time, they told us that they wanted to work with us. But if we worked with any other faction except them to build this signal interceptor, then we wouldn't be able to work with them again.
I'd love to work with you more. Let me know if you're interested. But to be crystal clear, if you use that data and discover anything involving the Institute, you share it with us first. Otherwise, our relationship will be in jeopardy.
Deacon had a job for us, but we were too busy at the time. But now, we can head back to the Railroad headquarters beneath the Old North Church and tell Desdemona that we're ready for them to help us build a signal interceptor.
Ah, the Courser Killer returns. And what brings you back here?
All you need to know is there's a machine that can get me inside the Institute. Can you take a look at these schematics? A scientist named Virgil said they could get me inside the Institute. I need to build a signal interceptor to get into the Institute.
Even if one of my own agents told me that, I'd be skeptical. And from a stranger? Listen, you're obviously talented. I believe you'd be a great asset to our organization. So, prove it. Run the op with Deacon. If everything checks out, then we can talk about this plan of yours.
Oh no! And just like with the Brotherhood, before the Railroad will help us build the signal interceptor, we've got to work with them, do their mission, join their organization. Deacon is standing nearby, ready to talk with us about the op.
A job I was talking about, still wide open. You help us out, and I personally guarantee we'll help you out down the line.
And this conversation goes a bit differently depending on the dialogue choices we had with Desdemona when we first met her. Remember, at the time she asked us,
would you risk your life for your fellow man, even if that man is a synth?
And we could have said no.
No, probably not.
No shame in that. Every person needs to know what they're willing to die for. It might be best if you kept your distance from us. Not for our sake, but for yours.
If we said no, we can still talk with Deacon. But he's got to clear the air first.
So you answered the big question and took a pass. Dez is a hardliner, a live and die for the cause kind of lady. But the truth isn't so cut and dry. Listen, are you interested in the Railroad? Learning more? Maybe joining?
I thought she turned me away, though.
It's complicated. Would Dez like every Tom, Dick, and Harriet to be here only to help synths? Yes, absolutely. But we live in the real world. And here, we can't turn down help. We need every able body we can get. So, you interested?
No, I'm not.
Hey, we're not for everyone. Come to think of it, we're not for practically anyone. But if you change your mind, well, you get the idea.
I don't really know.
Let's see how much common ground we got then.
Sure, I'm interested.
All right, good. Let's see how much common ground we got. I get you don't want to take a bullet for a synth, but you willing to brave some danger to stop the Institute and their nefarious schemes? I can't believe I just said that.
What harm has the Institute actually done to people?
Starting with ancient history, they tried to take over the Commonwealth. Came a hair away from succeeding with their synth army, so there's that. But in the what have you done for me lately category, kidnappings, wiped out a settlement or two, and nasty bioengineering experiments. Diseases, FEV, the usual. So, you willing to fight them?
Wait a minute. The Institute at one time tried to take over the Commonwealth with a synth army? When was this? And is Deacon saying that it's the Institute that's responsible for FEV in the Commonwealth? For super mutants in the Commonwealth?
No, I have no problem with the Institute.
All right. That I wasn't expecting. In which case, I think you're right. We really aren't a good fit. End of sales pitch. But if you ever change your mind about the Institute, drop by.
I haven't made up my mind yet.
Well, let me break it down for you.
Someone has to stop them.
Excellent. Every one of us believes in synths getting a fair chance, but some agents aren't really risking their necks for that. They put their asses on the line to hurt the Institute, and the Railroad's all right with that.
Understandable.
Everyone here wants to help synths. You should too, if you join us. But if you're risking your life for something else, hey, as long as you're in the trenches with us, we're good.
So the Railroad's not really about ideals, it's about revenge.
That's not fair. For most of us, the cause is everything. But we can't turn away people who'd risk their lives helping us just because they don't say the synth Pledge of Allegiance loud enough.
If you're fighting the Institute, you need all the help you can get.
Most Railroad agents are fully committed to the cause, but some agents want revenge even more. I get that. Sales pitch over. If you want to walk away, here's your chance.
I still haven't decided.
Let me tell you the score and see what you think.
What do you want from me?
I got a job. Too big for me, just perfect for the two of us. You help me out, we turn a few heads, and then Dez invites you into the fold. Then, if you get into a bind and need some help, your buddies in the Railroad got your back.
What's the job?
So, up front, the only thing I'll say is that it's going to be a wild and dangerous ride, but probably nothing new for someone like you.
Maybe not.
I won't do a hard sell. Later, if you want to save some cents or just stick it to the Institute, you know where we are.
Still not interested.
Maybe when you see more out there, you'll be back. The Institute has a habit of stepping on people's toes with a jackhammer. Good luck.
Sign me up then.
Perfecto. Let's meet up at the old freeway outside of Lexington. I'll fill you in once you get there.
So we can join the Railroad to fight the Institute, even if we won't say the synth Pledge of Allegiance. Even if we're not sold on the idea that we should take a bullet for synths. Good to know. But if we answered Desdemona's question differently...
Once, I pledged my life to protect my countrymen. I don't see this as any different.
Well said. You were right about us. We're the only ones in the Commonwealth brave enough or stupid enough to fight the Institute. And we could use more brothers in arms. But right now, we don't have the time to train up a new agent. There are, however, other valuable ways you can contribute. And in turn, we can help you. See Deacon for details. You're free to go.
This time the conversation with Deacon goes like this.
Hope you didn't mind the reception. When you tango with the Institute, you gotta be careful when someone new gets on the dance floor.
Do you really have to be so cagey?
The precautions are necessary. In our business, if we underestimate our enemy's capabilities, it's game over.
What's done is done.
A healthy attitude.
If you greet all newcomers like that, no one's ever gonna help you.
Yes, she's quite good when it comes to being unpleasant.
Don't be too hard on the old girl. She's just looking after her wayward children.
Your leader was just being cautious.
And you can't be too careful these days.
Exactly. Kind of killed our chance at a friendly first impression, though. But it's all good now. I vouched for you. Nobody got shot. Still, I would consider it a close personal favor if you didn't sell us out to the Institute. Thanks.
Too bad. I was hoping to get some beer money out of it.
If you're picking up the tab, never mind. Go for it.
No promises. I don't owe you guys anything.
Just don't do anything drastic until you learn more, okay?
Don't worry. I'll keep your secret.
That's what I want to hear.
So tell me, why did you vouch for me?
I've heard a lot of things about you. Enough to want to give you a chance.
But if we pass the charisma check...
In our little outfit, it's my job to know things. And with everything you've done, it's clear you're capable. A dangerous enemy. And I'm betting a valuable ally.
But why the trust? You can't be taking it all on faith.
I don't know if we can trust you, but I hope we can. We just survived a hell of a crisis, so we may just be a teeny-weeny bit desperate for new members. If everything was sunshine and bottle caps, we'd probably play a longer getting-to-know-you game, but we don't have that luxury.
Really? Is that all?
You just don't give up. All right, I have a short list of people I think would be a good fit for our family. You piqued my interest, so maybe I asked around. Did my homework. If you hadn't found us, there's a chance I would have found you instead. Thanks for saving me the trip.
And it's here only after we pass 3 charisma checks that Deacon admits that he's been following us. At Diamond City.
Welcome to the, Great Green Jewel. You'll totally love it here.
And at Good Neighbor in multiple locations.
Everyone's welcome in Good Neighbor. Even me.
But it goes even deeper than that. We haven't made it here in the story, but if we had made it to the trading village known as Bunker Hill, we would have seen Deacon there as well.
Hey,
Excuse me.
what's up? What a day, huh? Sure love trading here. For trade stuff.
And if we were paying close attention when we left Vault 111 for the first time, we would have found a little camp on a hillside overlooking the vault door. Here we find a chair, a little bit of a shelter, some food and water, and an interesting symbol nearby. A similar symbol to the one that we found at the Corvega assembly plant when we worked with the Minutemen to build the signal interceptor. We'll find out more about this symbol later. But back to Deacon.
So Dez wants me to make you a tourist. That's what we call someone who helps out with the odd job here and there. What a waste. I'm just gonna come out and say this. The railroad needs you.
You sure you need me? Desdemona didn't seem to care.
She's just thinking of the time and manpower it would take to train you. And if you were some hick from the burbs that didn't know your ass from a rocket launcher, she'd be right. But I'm betting someone like you just needs a few pointers. And a target.
I'm not sure.
I'll tell you the game plan, then you decide.
I'm not sure if I want to work with you guys.
Here's my one and only sales pitch. Do you support synth freedom? I'm not asking if you die for them, just if you agree that they shouldn't be slaves.
What do you mean by freedom?
As in, they shouldn't be slaves. Good old Institute property. You know, get to make their own decisions. And have the same crappy chance to live the American dream that all of us get. You agree?
I don't know enough about synths to answer one way or the other.
Keeping an open mind, or waiting for more facts? Smart, either way. But everyone associated with the railroad has to at least support the basic tenet that synths deserve to be free. If you make up your mind, come on back. Good luck out there.
I don't think you can enslave a machine.
All right, not expecting that kind of a deal breaker. But if for some crazy reason you change your mind, well, whatever.
Whether it's synths or humans, I'm against slavery.
Follow up. Would you be willing to risk your life to stop the Institute and their nefarious plans? I can't believe I just said that.
And with that, the conversation wraps up in the same way as the last one. He wants to at least get out of us that we don't want synths to be slaves and that we want to fight the Institute. And then he gives us the job and tells us to meet him by an old freeway outside Lexington. Only then will we get the full details of the job. We've been to Lexington a number of times so far. We walked through there on the way to the Cambridge police station. We had to go there to clear the Corvega assembly plant. And now we return to meet Deacon beneath a large freeway. This freeway is just southeast of Lexington, and we find him in a costume.
Deacon? Is that you?
Like the disguise? It's Wastelander camo. This is my pile of garbage, asshole. Back off. Good, right? You're lucky I didn't do one of my face swaps, too.
You can change your face?
I put myself under the knife every year or two. New face, new body, you know, the full makeover. It keeps our enemies guessing.
Stop screwing with me.
This is not for your benefit. It's to stay one step ahead of you-know-who, the Institute. So about the job.
That? Not much of a disguise.
A disguise is more than a wig and some lice-ridden clothes. You'd be surprised how far I've gotten with the right attitude and a clipboard. But about the job.
I almost didn't recognize you.
That's the point. So, about the job. The railroad's only recently been using the Old North Church. Our old base was underneath the Slocum's Joe. We had a pretty sweet setup until the Institute found us.
Your base was under a donut shop?
It's a lot better than it sounds. Well, it was, until it was blown to hell.
What happened?
Our HQ was strong, defensible. Heck, we thought it was secure. Inside a minute, the Institute troopers breached the doors and turned it into a shooting gallery.
Tough break.
And then some.
That sounds really, really bad.
It was a disaster with a capital D.
Yeah, that's great. So, what are we doing here?
The survivors didn't have time to grab anything. So, we're getting something important we had to leave behind.
What exactly are we looking for?
I'll tell you when we get inside. I know that's a bum deal, but strategic ignorance has saved our organization more times than I can count.
If the Institute's still there, this could be really dangerous.
We'll take it slow. dip our feet into the water. And if the water's full of bullets, we'll back out and try something different.
Let's find it then.
We gotta do one thing first.
Go on.
We got a tourist nearby. He or she has information on the base. So let's pump him for information before we dive in. For now, I'll take point. So I'm looking for rail signs, symbols we use to send messages to each other. If you like that, we got signs and countersigns, dead drops, even a secret handshake. All right, maybe the handshake never got on. Anyway, the tourist should have a trail left for us. Here we go. Rail sign. The arrow in the center indicates a direction. So our tourist is up ahead. Let's keep going.
Rail signs! That's what those symbols have been that we've seen all over the Commonwealth. The rail sign outside Corvega had an X in the middle. The rail sign by Vault 111 had a plus in the middle. We don't have enough information to decipher these yet. For now, we follow Deacon up the crumbling freeway overpass. Eventually, he spots something.
Got another rail sign. Right there.
This one is painted on the back of a sign, and it's another arrow pointing us in the right direction. Continuing along, we find an old campsite. There's a burnt-out fire, a tool case nearby, and a skeleton on a sleeping bag. As we round a big pile of tires, we find ghouls. Continuing along, Deacon spots something again.
And another. We're probably close.
Another rail sign on the front of this bus, pointing east. Rounding the bus, we hear more ghouls inside of it. Inside the bus, we find a Nuka-Cola Quantum by the skeleton of the driver. Continuing forward, we pass a bunch of ruined cars until...
See the plus in the center? That means there's an ally nearby, our tourist. You take point on the conversation. Look, no matter what he says, you just say, "Mine is in the shop." Trust me.
The rail sign on the side of this car is a plus sign, exactly like the one that was outside Vault 111. And Deacon tells us that this means ally nearby, which means the railroad thought that we were an ally, even before we left Vault 111. And who could it have been who was at this campsite, overlooking our vault, hoping we'd be an ally? It must have been Deacon himself, who was waiting for us to emerge from Vault 111. But how did he know we were there? How long had he been waiting for us? Moving forward, we see the tourist at the end of the overpass, a man named Ricky Dalton.
Excuse me.
Oh, thank God. Do you have a Geiger counter? Do you have a goddamn Geiger counter?
If we forget to say the railroad password, mine is in the shop.
Why do you need a Geiger counter? Is this place irradiated?
Wait, what?
No, I don't have a Geiger counter.
Wait, what?
I got one built into my Pip-Boy.
Wait, what?
Easy there. He meant to say, "Mine is in the shop."
That's better. My heart almost burst out of my chest.
But if we remember to say the correct password,
Mine is in the shop.
Who the hell is he? HQ said they were sending one agent, not two.
Sorry, I'm new. He's just shown me the ropes.
All right. The wall is my witness. I thought I was dead. It's about goddamn time you headquarters bastards got here.
Ease up there, pal, or we're gonna have a problem.
I already got problems, asshole.
It's all right, we're here now. You're safe.
You think I'm goddamn safe?
Are you in danger? Tell me what's going on.
I signed on for some light recon, but that little Slocum's Joe of yours is crawling with goddamn chrome dome synth sons of bitches. The front's fortified to hell and back. They place mines all over the goddamn place.
They have a minefield?
Yeah, the mother of all minefields. I couldn't draw you a map if I tried.
What do you mean by chrome dome synths?
You know, them early model synths. Looks like metal wrapped over mechanical innards. You see them here and there doing who knows what for the Institute.
Good to know. I'll be going.
Yeah,
I appreciate all you've done.
I hope it helps. I really do. As soon as it's safe, I'm getting the hell out of here. So if you need anything else, better ask soon.
even though he says to ask soon if we want anything else, he dumps us out of dialogue with him. The quest log updates to talk to Deacon, but we could turn back to Ricky to talk some more.
Hey, Ricky.
You need something else?
We find 3 options here, each of which have a charisma check of different difficulty. The most difficult one is to ask him to make a distraction.
Ricky, you ready to be a hero? Someone they'll sing songs about? We're storming that base, and we need a distraction. A big one.
You must think I'm a real dumbass to get myself killed for some song. Screw you!
But if we pass it,
It's that important. Well, if I do this, that song better be goddamn beautiful, you hear me? My song plates the mines. After you get to your tunnels, I got explosives I might be able to use to take out the chrome domes.
What are you planning on doing?
I should be able to pick a path through the minefield. I can toss the explosives at the synths inside Slocum's. Assuming I live through that, the survivors will probably swarm me. But maybe, just maybe, I'll live through it.
That's more of a distraction than I was thinking of.
So you want me to do it or not, numbskull?
we have one opportunity here to ask him not to commit suicide.
I'm not asking for you to commit suicide, Ricky.
Oh, thank the wall. Listen, I'll take some pot shots with my rifle. It might even the odds once things go south.
In which case, he hangs back and picks off synths with his rifle. But if we really don't care about this guy, and we want him dead, we can tell him to go ahead with his plan.
You silver-tongued son of a bitch. All right, I'll take a couple shots, but if I see any of them coming for me, I'm running for the hills. We're done.
In which case, he heads off to prepare himself for death. Or we could pass an orange charisma check to ask him to provide covering sniper fire.
We're assaulting the base. Once we strike, use your rifle to pick off anyone you can see. A lot of lives are depending on us.
It's always just one more goddamn thing until I'm 6 feet under or bleeding out in some godforsaken ditch. Screw you.
But if we pass it,
You silver-tongued son of a bitch. All right, I'll take a couple shots, but if I see any of them coming for me, I'm running for the hills. We're done.
and with that he takes off to provide covering fire. Or we could pass a relatively easier yellow charisma check to ask him to provide us with extra supplies.
You scavenge anything that can help us? We're risking our lives out there.
It's always just one more goddamn thing until I'm 6 feet under or bleeding out in some godforsaken ditch. Screw you.
But if we pass it,
Oh, hell. I suppose I could spare a few things. I don't want your deaths on my conscience.
with that he gives us 3 stim packs, some Med-X, and 3 cans of pork and beans. After that, we can then pass either of the other 2 charisma checks to get him to provide covering fire or to make a distraction, or we could leave.
You've done enough for us. Goodbye.
Damn straight.
No matter what choice we make, we must now talk with Deacon.
Well, isn't Ricky just a ray of sunshine? You think he's telling the truth?
Speaking of truth, why did you lie to Ricky?
My job in the railroad is intel. That job's easier if no one knows who I am. So, I lied. I do that. So you handled the talkie talk and I got to watch from the sidelines. Go team us.
I think he's hiding something.
So you don't trust him. First rule in this business is never go against your gut. If he's lying, could be the front entrance is full of lollipops and rainbows. My guess is it's worse than he's letting on. So we're going in through the escape tunnel instead.
He doesn't strike me as the dishonest type.
Yeah, that's my read too.
He's probably telling the truth, but you never can tell.
I agree. Odds are good we can take him at face value. First rule in this business is never go against your gut. So if we take him at his word, the front door has mines, synths, and probably other fun and exciting prizes. So we're going in through the escape tunnel.
The donut shop has an escape tunnel?
What? Doesn't everyone have an escape tunnel? Seriously though, thank God for that tunnel. If it weren't for that, there wouldn't be any railroad left.
I say we go through the front door. Minefield or not.
What? If you think we got the mojo for that, I'll back your play. You first.
If we want to ignore all conventional wisdom, we can try to go through the front. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what we say here. Deacon will follow us wherever we go. If we're in power armor, we can just jump off the overpass here and go on our merry way. Otherwise, we've got to climb all the way back down the way we came. And as soon as we enter Lexington, we find the minefield. There are frag mines littering the ground by this Red Rocket gas station just outside Slocum's Joe. And sure enough, Ricky Dalton was right. There are chrome domes everywhere. But it's not an impossible battle.
You are hiding.
I can do this all day! That is? Well, fine then.
With the synths and the turrets dead, we can creep forward slowly and disarm mine after mine after mine. Mines, mines, mines. What is it with Fallout games and endless fields of mines? When at last we make it inside the Slocum's Joe, we can loot the dead, but we'll save our exploring for later. To move forward, we need to go downstairs, and here we find a door leading to Slocum Joe's basement. On the other side, we climb down some stairs,
The elevator's hidden behind the bookcase.
and we're looking for a bookcase. There it is.
For the love of... The Institute bastards powered off the elevator. We kill all of them, and we still gotta go in the back way. Well, the slightly bright side here is it'll be easy getting out. You buy that? I don't.
Oh, great. After all of that, we can't actually get in this way. Sure enough, the bookcase moves aside, but the elevator won't work. We have to go through the back door anyway. Now, we had an opportunity to convince Ricky Dalton to either provide a distraction or cover us with supporting fire. But in my game, when I did a frontal assault, nothing happened. He never showed up. I don't know if it's because I just got here too fast or what, but I did this a number of times and he never arrived. There is an apartment building nearby that's got a fire escape ladder leading to a roof, which you'd think would be a perfect spot for Ricky Dalton to provide cover fire, but he never climbs up here. However, using VATS, I was able to find him. He's sitting on a rock off in the distance. We can go over and try to talk with him.
You should get the hell out of here and don't look back.
But he says the same thing over and over again. So, not only is it the smarter option to go through the back tunnel, but it's our only option.
The tunnel has got to be easier than a frontal assault.
Easier, but no cakewalk. You lead us there, pal. I got you covered.
Since we are not in power armor, we've got to turn around and go back the way we came. Near to where we met Ricky Dalton, there's a campsite with a cooking stove. We can head into the back of a truck where we find a bed to sleep, a first aid kit, and a tool case with ammunition inside. There's also a suitcase here with armor inside. Moving along the overpass, we loot a number of ghoul bodies, and then we can head down the rubble ramp until we reach the ground. On the ground, we turn northeast. We travel for a ways until we find some train tracks. Here we find a train with a suit of power armor in a cage. We could hack an advanced lock terminal to unlock this cage to access the power armor. But I don't need it for this character, so we'll move on. Examining each of these train cars reveals some goodies: explosive canisters, ammunition canisters. Once stocked up, we can move east. We find a drainage pipe beneath the railroad tracks, and walking through some dead ivy, we find a door to a sewer.
We're in. The back entrance is safer, but be ready for Gen 1s and 2s. So it's time you learn why we're here. We're retrieving a prototype developed by our good Dr. Carrington.
What can you tell me about the Gen 1s and 2s?
The synths didn't start off as nigh-perfect copies of human beings. The Institute had to work up to that level of hubris. Gen 1s and 2s were stepping stones along the way. The Railroad's not fully united on how we feel about them.
What's there to be divided about?
Everyone wants to liberate the Gen 3s, the human-looking synths. Some of the synths in the Railroad, like Glory, think we should help earlier models too. But Gen 1s are basically the same as, well, a Protectron, so the line gets muddy. Do we defend AI rights? Terminals? Hell, turrets? Anytime it gets brought up, fireworks. All the old arguments flare up. The upshot is Glory and some others won't run missions like this.
Who's Dr. Carrington?
All goes well, you'll meet him soon enough.
I'm risking my neck here. I want to know what I'm risking it for.
So I'll be straight with you, although you're not gonna like it. I have no idea what the prototype does. Us railroad agents are treated like mushrooms. Kept in the dark and fed... well, you get the idea. It's gotta be important, though. Des wouldn't risk our hides lightly.
Ready to go. Let's find a prototype then.
Together with you, I like our odds. First step is to override the security lockdown.
All right. Override the security lockdown so we can find Dr. Carrington's prototype that does I don't know what. Okay. Moving down the corridor, we find a locked door, and sure enough, nearby is a terminal. But it's locked with a master lock. Nothing we can do about that. Thankfully, Deacon walks in to save the day.
Well, the terminal's on at least. I'm gonna feed it some passwords. No. Nope. No. Ah, missed one, you cocky bastards. The prototype's deeper inside.
All right. Thank you, Deacon. We can take a moment to learn what Codsworth has to say about this place.
Your thoughts?
Not too shabby. A real shame the Institute had to come and make such a mess of things.
The terminal has no lore, it just controls the door. So heading through the door, we can creep forward.
Someone left a rail sign here. This one means danger. Yeah, we know. Poor dead bastard. We know.
It's the sign that has the X on it, the same one we saw outside Corvega. And it makes sense. This one means danger, that one meant danger. I wonder what other ones the railroad has in store for us. Lying on the ground beneath this rail sign is the body of Roger. Moving forward, we find a destroyed machine gun turret, and we arrive at the top of a platform overlooking pipes leading down. At the bottom, we see synths, and we can engage.
We decided we were too much trouble.
Wait, see the box in the center of that rail sign? That means there's a cache nearby. Looks like Maven managed to hide something before...
destruction is inevitable.
You know. Look around.
So a rail sign with a box in the middle says there's a cache nearby. Here we find the body of Maven. She doesn't have much on her inventory, and another destroyed machine gun turret. We hear synths off in the distance, but creeping past the box, we can try to find this cache. And turning around, we find it. A hole has been cut in this pipe, and inside is an ammo box and a tool case filled with more ammunition. Continuing forward, we see a spotlight against a wall, and rounding a corner, we find more dead bodies. The synths are on a level below us. We can use our silenced 10mm to take out the spotlight.
Tinker managed to turn on the defenses. Barely slowed the coursers down, but hey, probably saved some lives.
And that explains all of the destroyed turrets. That was the security Tinker Tom turned on as they were fleeing. Alternatively, we could access a terminal at the top of this ramp to deactivate the spotlights. And accessing terminal control, we find 2 turrets still connected. We could deactivate these in case we worry that they'll attack us.
Movement detected. Curious. Detected. Damaged.
That about takes care of that.
Moving forward, we can loot the bodies of the synths lying in this water. And here we find the corpse of Sly Nicholas, another dead railroad agent. Creeping forward, we see a few more destroyed turrets, and soon we come upon the body of Francis Odell. In the next room, we see a construction light. We can't shoot this one out, but thankfully there are no synths here. So creeping down, we can hide behind this brick pillar as we hear synths down the hall.
Overactive sensors. Nothing more.
When they've lost our scent, we can move forward until we arrive at the top of a staircase.
Another active terminal. We didn't have time to trip the defenses up ahead. Power them up, and we can give our friends a little surprise.
Hey, thank you, Deacon. Down the stairs, we find the body of Mr. Mathers, and quickly using the terminal above him, we can activate the turrets in the next room. Standing back.
By order of the Institute, you must be destroyed.
Peering into the next room, we see that it didn't work that well.
Movement detected. Curious. There you are.
What was that?
Damage.
Nothing like a little dust-up to get the oil flowing, eh?
But it did get all the synths in one spot for us, making the Molotov very effective. On the top of this level, we find the body of Kelly K. We can move down to the level where we killed all of those synths and loot up until we arrive in a broken pipe. Into the pipe, we round a corner and push forward until we arrive on the other side of a security gate. We see the gate is locked with a novice lock terminal. After hacking it, we can unlock the door. Before we open the door, we can loot a cap stash on the ground here and then open the door. Somehow, whether it was my lack of stealth, the light, or the sound of the door opening, the synths became alerted, so we can kick open the door.
That's that then. Let's make this quick, shall we? I trust everyone's still alive.
Bye-bye, Gen 1s. Prepare to be shocked. Not every Slocum's Joe has a massive tunnel complex underneath it. We're entering a secret Defense Intelligence Agency research lab, a place that never officially existed. It's called the Switchboard. The prototype is locked up in the heart of the facility.
So, this wasn't just a donut shop after all. I wonder what kind of lore we'll find here. There's at least one synth still alive, but I couldn't see him, so we'll start exploring. Lying dead in the middle of this room is Songbird. The room is filled with sandbag barricades, desks, and terminals, and there are doors all around us. Turning right, we can head through the northwestern door. Here we find a cooking station and a barracks. There is one footlocker here. We could sleep in these beds, but there's nothing else of interest in this room. So back out into the main room, we can loot some of these desks. On one of the desks is a terminal. Accessing it, SIGINT Terminal number 3. We find 3 entries. In the first, Slocum's Joe Weekly Update, to SIGINT/CC from Lieutenant Colonel Deborah A. Finch. Subject, Slocum's Joe number 38 Weekly Update. Cover briefing time, boys and girls. Numbers are in for September. Number 38 had a busy month. Traffic was up 18%, despite reducing cleaning in half. We're a go for the General's Operation Rotten Egg, so hold your breath getting to the elevator. If anyone mentions Buzz Bites, play dumb. Raspberry and cream filled were the hot items of the week. The mayor dropped by to press some flesh on Thursday. If friends or family ask, you were downstairs in the shipping department and missed it. Saturday had a freak thunderstorm that blew out one of the transformers. Whole block was without power for 4 hours, from 0900 to 1300. Those on shift have been briefed, but what everyone would know is shipping was locked inside for the duration. Had a donut party. Remember, deflect, deflect, deflect. The fewer details you give, the less likely you are to be tripped up. Confidential. Do not disseminate. Confidential. So they had an evolving cover story about running a Slocum's Joe donut shop, and they had to be briefed every week. In the next one, Hindu Kush Report. To Corporal Michael F. Gillespie from Dr. Ramarajan. Subject, Hindu Kush, TPN Intercept. We need everything you can get from Unknown Broadcast, TPN-03, HumInt, SIGINT, anything. I cannot stress the importance enough. Daily updates. The second you have anything actionable, run it over to Databank. So this is a hard one to decipher without more information. Hindu Kush is a mountain range in southern Asia. It spans the borders of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Tajikistan. Presumably this broadcast, TPN-03, was coming from Hindu Kush or was talking about Hindu Kush. We don't really get any other information in the Fallout universe to help us interpret what this entry means. And the next one, Halloween Bash. To Corporal Michael F. Gillespie from Corporal J.T. Faraday. Subject, Halloween Bash. After our shift, we're hitting Antoine's for a genuine Halloween party. Costumes and everything. Civvies will be in attendance, including someone Kate says you'll like. Guaranteed not to be a honeypot. You need to get out. This is a tough assignment for all of us, so don't let those data losers get you down. Well, nice to see these guys trying to have some semblance of a normal life. Backing out of the terminal, we can loot a few more containers on this level. Before heading upstairs, we can move through the southern door on this level. Here we find more beds lying on the ground and a fusion generator with a fusion core inside. That's it for the ground level, so taking the stairs, we can move to the upper level. After looting the bodies, we see a room up here, but it appears to be empty. The sounds of the synths must have come from the other side of this door. This must have been the office for the person in command here. We find consoles all over the place, and lying on a desk in the middle of the room is a copy of U.S. Covert Operations Manual.
Bingo.
Whistling in the dark, permanently more difficult to detect while sneaking. Just in time, we happen to be doing just that. Lying on a desk is the central terminal, but it's locked with an expert lock. Oh man, I couldn't hack this, but if I could, inside we read Switchboard Mainframe, SW01. Here we find 2 entries in the first, DEFCON status 2007. January 28th, 2077, 4:32 p.m. Anchorage all clear, DEFCON 3. DEFCON stands for Defense Readiness Condition. It goes all the way from DEFCON 5, the lowest state of readiness, to DEFCON 1, which means nuclear war is imminent. DEFCON 3, therefore, is right in the middle. The military needs to stay in a state above normal readiness, and the Air Force needs to be ready to mobilize within 15 minutes. In our universe, the last time the U.S. military was at DEFCON 3 was during the September 11th attacks. Then we skip all the way to October 23rd, 2277, the day the world ended, at 3 minutes after midnight. The commander of the Pacific Fleet reports 3 unidentified submerged objects off the California coast. Joint Chiefs of Staff advise. Then, later that morning at 3:37, the U.S. Air Force has eyes on squadron of airplanes, possibly Chinese, at high altitude off the Bering Strait. The Bering Strait is what separates Alaska from Russia. So a squad of airplanes was coming towards Alaska from Russia. Then, at 9:13 in the morning, the Integrated Operational Nuclear Detection System reports 4 probable launches. DEFCON 2. DEFCON 2 means that we're on the precipice of a nuclear war. In our universe, America has only called DEFCON 2 twice. During the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962 and in the opening phases of Operation Desert Storm in 1991. Then, 3 minutes later, NORAD confirms birds in the air, DEFCON 1. DEFCON 1 means that nuclear war is imminent or has already begun. America has never declared a DEFCON state of 1 in our universe. 9 minutes later, at 9:26 in the morning, authenticated order, response scenario MX-CN91. Repeat, M6-CN91. We don't know if response scenario MX-CN91 has any correlation to any response scenario in our universe, but we can presume from what happened in the Fallout universe that that scenario meant fire nukes back at them. Perhaps the scenario stood for mutually assured destruction. Then, at 9:42 in the morning, the same day, Pennsylvania, New York, confirmed strike. 5 minutes later, 9:47 in the morning, offline, offline, offline. This is a hugely important terminal for the pre-war lore of the Fallout universe. From this terminal, we know that the US military didn't officially launch any nukes, presuming that response scenario MX-CN91 was America's nuclear response, until they first saw incoming projectiles after finding airplanes crossing the Bering Strait and submarines off the coast of California. It's possible that the submarines off the coast of California were the Chinese submarines that eventually made their way to San Francisco and whose descendants became the Shi. But what I think is most interesting about this terminal is what it doesn't tell us. It doesn't tell us that, say, a rogue company with military connections started detonating nukes in America. It doesn't say that rogue soldiers launched nukes at China or that the military accidentally launched nukes at China. It doesn't say that nuclear bombs rained from alien UFOs in the sky. That doesn't mean that none of those things happened, but you'd think that if this terminal picked up bogies over the Bering Strait and submarines off the coast of California, that they'd pick up aliens dropping bombs over the Midwest, or Vault-Tec detonating bombs under urban cities. Ultimately, we still don't know who dropped the bombs first. But this terminal, more than anything else in the Fallout universe, gives us the biggest evidence that it was probably China who attacked first. But that's just one man's opinion trying to read this evidence. Backing out of this entry, we can read DEFCON archive, but the database is corrupt. Backing out of this terminal, we can move forward to find another expert lock terminal. I couldn't hack it, but if we could, we find an option to disable an optical tripwire. A tripwire which must be in the next room. To get into that next room, we can open the door. And there it is, yeah, well, I couldn't disable it, so let's tiptoe through. Looks like the tripwires are connected to this Tesla arc trap on the ceiling. Thankfully, these are pretty easy to disarm. Creeping forward, we can disarm them one by one, and then loot the fusion cells in the Tesla traps. At the end of the hallway, we find a wall with signs on it. Water closet, that is the restrooms to the right. Department X, databanks, SIGINT, research and development, and the exit to the left. And then we get attacked from the left.
Actuator damage.
Moving into the room to the left, we can loot the bodies and a couple of containers. We hear that there are still some synths alive, probably on the other side of this door. But before we go through that door, we know that there's just a water closet down this way, so let's explore this first. We can loot the body of the synth and peer down a hallway. We see another door down there. We'll move into the men's restroom first. Here we find some mirror cabinets. One has a stim pack in it. The stalls are empty, and there's nothing in the urinals. So moving out, we can check out the women's restroom. The first stall is empty, but the second one has a skeleton holding some jet sitting on the toilet. Nothing like a pick-me-up with the world about to end, I suppose. There's a newspaper on another toilet and a first aid kit on a wall. Back to the hallway, we can move west, whereupon we find an advanced locked door. I couldn't pick this, but if I could, all we find is a broom closet with a couple of shelves, a duffel bag with ammunition, and a toolbox inside. With this path being a dead end, we can retrace our steps and open the big double doors in the last room. Rounding a corner, we see movement.
Is someone present? Engager. Following Institute protocol.
What's over here, sir? I was just getting warmed up.
We're at a fork. There is a staircase bathed in red light to the right. That's the exit. A hallway to the right, and then a path to the left, where the synths came from. Moving that way first, we arrive in a large room with a huge vault door, and Deacon runs straight to the terminal.
Where's that play button?
Carrington, Stanley, Salus Agrote Suprema Lex.
Salus Agrote Suprema Lex is Latin for the well-being of the patient is the most important law.
Open says me.
When that, the door opens, and Deacon races inside to find a body.
So Tommy Whispers didn't make it out. He died protecting our secrets. Let me see. There. Tommy would want you to have his hand cannon. Don't let its size fool you.
What's so special about the gun?
Tinker Tom restored it. You'll meet him later. It's cutting-edge old-world tech. It's powerful and, more importantly, quiet. You'll never find another weapon like it.
Why are you giving this to me?
Our best agents carry special ordnance made by Tinker Tom. He's... well, you'll know when you meet him. Call this gun a vote of confidence.
I shouldn't take it.
Too late. It's yours.
I appreciate it.
May it serve you as well, heck, better than it did Tommy.
With that, we get the legendary 10mm pistol, Deliverer. It has an improved VATS hit chance, and each attack requires 25 fewer action points in VATS. Plus, it comes with a suppressor. Nice. The Deliverer is one of the few truly unique weapons in Fallout 4. It's not just a regular weapon with a unique legendary effect. No, the Deliverer, despite being a 10mm pistol, outshines a regular 10mm pistol in essentially every area. Its base default damage is 25, compared to a regular 10 mils base damage of 18. It has a base fire rate of 66, compared to a 10 mils 46. Its accuracy is 67, compared to a 10 mils 60. Its AP cost is 26, compared to a 10 mils 28. Its range is inferior at 53 compared to a 10 mils 83, but that's due to the suppressor. Removing the suppressor increases its range by 30. Even the mods for this thing are different from the 10 mils, granting the Deliverer different stats and limiting the weapon in some way. Unlike the 10 mil, you can't put a scope on it. The only sight upgrade are glow sights. And the only muzzle option available is the suppressor that comes with it. It's not compatible with compensators or muzzle brakes. This semi-automatic weapon can be fired incredibly quickly, and its recoil is minimal, even before modifications, making this a deadly little weapon.
Grab Carrington's prototype. You turn that over to Desdemona, and she'll have to let you into our merry band.
Okay, then we gotta find this prototype. We see lots of boxes on all of these shelves, and next to a stealth boy, we find Carrington's prototype.
Excellent.
Which looks an awful lot like a stealth boy. Huh. I wonder what this does.
There's an elevator at the end of the hall. It should be a hell of a lot easier fighting the chrome domes on this side of the minefield.
Out of the vault, we can explore this room. On a table in the northern corner, we find a bunch of perfect hazmat suits and gas masks with goggles. There's a bottle cap mine lying here and a weapons bench nearby. Perfect time to upgrade our Deliverer. On a table is an end-of-dungeon steamer truck with some armor and a small amount of caps inside. There's an armor workbench right next to the steamer truck, and when done looting the place, we can head out the door and explore these other pathways. Instead of going towards the exit, we'll go straight ahead towards databanks. We arrive in a blue room filled with databanks. We see 2 security doors against the northwestern wall and a research terminal on a table. Accessing the terminal, we read, Top Secret, Switchboard Research, Top Secret. Section 1091/1092, Report. Executive Summary. The PAM initiative is already bearing fruit. Foreign operatives report that the corrective measures employed in the Taiwan Strait region have already greatly stabilized matters after the Pascal incident. The first few iterations of PAM's core code have increased the effectiveness of the program dramatically, but without drastic action, we're approaching a point of diminishing returns. The team asks for double the funding for the upcoming fiscal year. With additional cutting-edge databanks, we can boost the processing power of PAM threefold. Additionally, the PAM initiative needs to be fully tapped into all military and civilian agency intelligence apparatus. The combination of these 2 spends should give us a decided edge against the Chinese. Here again, we just don't have enough information about these events to really understand what was going on. We don't know what the Pascal incident was, and we can't really infer anything about it from the name Pascal. Perhaps Pascal was a person, an ambassador from America to China or Taiwan. We really don't know. But what is interesting about this terminal entry is the very mention of the Taiwan Strait. If there was an incident around this time in the Fallout universe that destabilized America's interests in the Taiwan Strait, this infers that America may have had democratic interests on the island of Taiwan. It infers that Communist China in the Fallout universe never conquered the Republic of China on the island of Taiwan. That is to say, if the Chinese on Taiwan were already communist, there would be nothing to destabilize. China would already exert all of their influence there. The fact that there was a destabilization there suggests that the island is still democratic or allied with America and the West in some way, which is honestly surprising. International relations within the Fallout universe had deteriorated dramatically by this time. As we learned from Fallout 1, Europe and the Middle East were fighting over fossil fuels. America had dominated the West and annexed Canada. China had dominated the East. The Soviet Union was there, but it wasn't a huge player. It was an ally of China. China was the dominating force. And yet, on Taiwan, this terminal leads us to believe that there was some democratic presence. In the next one, Saved Transcripts, we find 3 entries in the first June 29th, 2067, official record. And we find a recorded transcript of a conversation that apparently went on in this room. Pam, run the USSR China attack scenario.
Processing. Query. What goal does Entity Chairman seek in this hypothetical set of facts?
Conquest. Run program.
Your answer does not logically follow. An ideal nuclear first strike scenario would still leave 59% of the American nuclear stockpile free for retaliation. Posit. You cannot conquer what is destroyed.
Pam, Chairman Chang isn't always logical. He won't always make logical decisions. We've been over this.
Warning. Human variability results in a highly flawed statistical model.
Pam, run the program.
Warning. Warning. Emergency shutdown.
Damn it! We've lost her. Power her down. Did we get crash logs on that? So this terminal entry is about Pam, a predictive analytics machine that the railroad now has possession of. We'll meet her later, but she was built by the pre-war U.S. military. And according to this terminal, they had been working on her for quite some time. In the next one, December 17th, 2075. Could you repeat for the General what you just told me?
Posit. Chinese stealth technology far outstrips our own capabilities. Posit. The Chinese intelligence apparatus is sufficient to conceal large-scale research operations from American operatives. Conclusion. The Chinese have a 91% chance of having conducted large-scale experimentation with stealth tech.
Large scale? What do you mean? What are their capabilities?
American projects involving this technology, referred to Stealth Boy, have merely reverse-engineered captured Hague-Y suits. The underlying science of this technology is unknown, so the theoretical limits are also unknown. However, the so-called Ghost Fleet that Station A31 and B19 reported in November may indicate that the testing has already commenced with submersible vessels.
Dear God, you think they have stealth subs?
A second-order approximation is inconclusive. Explanation. The logic chain of these assumptions have too much variability. Further data is required.
So you can't even give me a guess?
Machine/human interface aborted.
Sorry, sir. We're working on some of her glitches. Pam, well, she gets real stubborn when she's doing too much guesswork. Stubborn? She's a machine! Sir, with each new version, well, she's getting quirky. There's no way I'm taking this stealth sub nonsense to the Joint Chiefs unless I have proof. It's doggone ludicrous to think that the Chinese have been working on something this big and we've heard nothing.
Virtually no actionable intelligence has come out of the Shaanxi province for 3.1 years. However, the province reports a spike in the imports of complex polymers and other key synthetic compounds. The quantity in question is consistent with stealth technology research on the macro scale.
Until you can give me something concrete, I don't want to hear another doggone word about this. So the U.S. military reported the existence of a ghost fleet, and Pam thinks these are stealth subs. And we know from the DEFCON terminal we read that before the bombs dropped, they picked up subs off the coast of California. I think Pam here may have been right. And in the last one, January 28th, 2077. There it is. Go ahead, unplug the cables. She's clear. What's the data integrity at? We can't tell until we boot her up.
Initiating machine/human interface.
Jesus, she's working. The numbers are looking good.
Commencing analysis of this geographical point in space.
She's actually in there. I can't believe we're doing this. After what she pulled off in July, I hear she may be sent over to the White House.
Assessment complete. Greetings, Dr. May and Dr. Ramarajan.
The interface is really coming along. When she runs it, have you seen how many cycles Malcolm is using for it? Pam, perform primary function.
DEFCON is currently at 3. The odds of the alert state increasing this month are 12%. In order to increase global stability, a diverse set of detailed strategies must be adopted.
I'll let the General know that Pam's mobile. This must have been recorded just after they placed Pam inside an Assaultron body, which is how the railroad managed to transfer Pam from here to the Old North Church. But we didn't find an option to open these security doors. Let's see, what have we missed? Against the western wall, we find Pam Research Project blueprints. Looks like the government was experimenting with a number of different robot chassis to place Pam into before they settled upon the Assaultron body. Right next to this is a novice lock terminal. After hacking it, we can open the security gates. Inside the first, we find some Rad-X and Med-X in a drawer, some bobby pins on a console, and in the next, we find some Nuka-Cola, a cap stash, and a pipe pistol behind this pre-war locked door. You'd think the pre-war military would have had more advanced hardware in here. With this room explored, we can turn back down the hallway and this time move southeast up the stairs towards the exit bathed in red. But on a landing, we find a cryo mine. Disarming it, we can open the double doors towards the exit. Peering in.
Movement detected. Offline.
With the synth stent, we can move forward. We find an advanced locked door here. I couldn't pick it, but if we could, inside, we find a fusion core lying right next to a red toolbox. Heading up the stairs, we can loot the synth bodies, and here we find the corpse of Beatrice Bell.
End of the line. Just power up the elevator.
The elevator is still unpowered. We can access a nearby terminal to power the elevator, and then deactivate any other connected turrets. Accessing the elevator, we can take it up, and we appear on the other side of that bookcase that we saw when we tried to come in through the front. Looting this room, we find a cooler with foodstuffs inside, a suitcase under a skeleton with ammo inside, and that's about it. So heading up the stairs, we can open the door back out into the Commonwealth. Now, if we went through the back entrance, but we never cleared the front, and if we let Ricky Dalton go on his way, we find the Slocum's Joe guarded by synths.
Hello. I knew you would reveal yourself.
With the synths dead, we can loot this level. There's a sweet roll in the kitchen, some boxed foods and Nuka-Cola in our fridge. Heading upstairs, we can loot the wreckages of some turrets and the synths, but that's about it. Down on the kitchen level, we find a cap stash behind the bar, and one of the turrets that we deactivated from the terminal on the other side of the elevator. But if we convinced Ricky Dalton to make a distraction, when we arrive up here, we don't see very many synths. We see the turrets, but no synths. Turns out the only synth we have to kill is upstairs. But right outside the front door, we find the body of Ricky Dalton. His diversion was to do a suicide run at the place, kill the synths out here, and detonate the mines. Oh, poor Ricky Dalton. What? Okay, he didn't detonate all the mines. But at least he killed the synths. If, however, we convinced him to provide us with covering fire when we arrive, we still find all of the synths here, as well as the turrets. Ricky Dalton's body isn't out here, but we don't hear him firing either. He's not on top of that apartment complex. In my game, he was nowhere to be found, so I can't see how choosing that option helped us in any way. I don't find any evidence that he provided any covering fire. But no matter how we chose to finish this, when done, we can talk to Deacon.
Excuse me. We got what we came for. Let's split up and meet back at the catacombs.
Was all of that worth it?
All I know is that Dez authorized the op. I just hope we didn't go through all that for the new coffee maker.
Bye.
See you soon.
I went through all of that, and I still don't know why.
You want to know a dirty little secret? Yeah, neither do I. The railroad works like that sometimes. Who knows? We could have just liberated the doctor's coffee maker.
We made a good team.
The best. See you soon.
And with that, Deacon walks off back towards the catacombs. And of course, the stealthy spy that he is ever so careful to watch his step.
Lightning, we'll make it out of this!
Oh, Deacon, you jerk! It's It's a good thing companions are immortal in this game. He recovers, quickly enough, but seems to forget where he is. Deacon, it's a minefield, Deacon. Want to maybe go the other way? Deacon? Oh, Deacon, you're limping. Come on, man. You maybe turn around. We don't know what's that way. Back into the city? Okay. Well, see you at the catacombs. Heading back to the catacombs ourselves, we arrive to find Deacon spinning a yarn.
And the new guy patched me up, put me on his shoulder, and blasted his way through the rest of the complex. Synths everywhere.
Carrying you the whole time?
Amazing, right?
That's one word for it. Deacon told me you single-handedly secured Carrington's prototype, disabled a minefield, and wiped out 100 Gen 1s. So is any of that true?
Why don't you believe Deacon?
Let's just say that Deacon and the Truth aren't always on the same team.
We got the job done. Does the rest matter?
I suppose not.
Mostly true.
But there weren't 100 of them. And Deacon was with me the whole way.
Embellishing the truth again, are we?
She would have fallen for it,
Don't flatter yourself. Still,
Every word he said was true. And then some.
if you didn't have the prototype, I'd think you're both lying through your teeth.
See? Just like I said, boss.
But if we pass the charisma check,
A full 100. I can't even imagine.
See? Just like I said, boss.
I was expecting Deacon to grab a full team, including Glory, to secure that prototype. But instead, just the two of you cleared out the entire switchboard.
You'd be insane not to sign him up, Des.
You've certainly made an impression on Deacon. He's never spoken about, or lied about, anyone so highly before. Welcome to the Railroad, Agent.
Why should I join you?
If you're having any doubts, you shouldn't. Not very many of us live to retirement. But if you're like me, that doesn't matter. There are great wrongs that need righting.
I'm not sure if I want to join.
If you join us, you'll be putting yourself at great risk. We don't want anyone having regrets later. So I need a yes or no.
I'm not interested in joining right now.
Understood. The offer's still open, though.
Come on, boss. You just gotta join our crew.
After what you did at Switchboard, you have a place in the Railroad.
Glad to be aboard.
It seems we're very lucky to have you. So you're in. Now we need to know what to call you. Secrecy keeps us alive. Code names are a part of that. So what's yours?
Have any suggestions?
No. It doesn't work like that. Your life, your name, your choice.
Let me think.
It's a big decision. Take your time.
I don't want a code name.
Code names aren't optional. All agents need to keep their identities secret to protect themselves and those close to them.
Call me Professor.
You certainly demonstrated your intelligence. Professor it is.
Call me Fixer.
Fixer certainly seems an apt name.
Call me Bullseye.
Well, from what Deacon says of your fighting skills, Bullseye seems apt.
Call me Whisper.
After Tommy? Or... Either way, that's very fitting.
Call me
Charmer.
Charmer. Fitting.
I really don't want to choose.
Suit yourself. We'll call you Wanderer. Seems fitting. Your first official order is to deliver Dr. Carrington his prototype and see if he can use another pair of hands. But first, it's time to meet the rest of the gang. The location of our HQ is one of our most tightly guarded secrets, so be careful coming in or out. You never can tell when you're being watched.
with that, she brings us through the false wall into the main door of the railroad headquarters, a place we've been to before. We already came here to have Tinker Tom decode the Courser chip, but it looks like we're now officially one of the gang.
This is it. It may lack the amenities of the switchboard, but it's safe, and we've taken precautions not to be surprised again. Things are chaotic right now, so there's plenty for you to do.
Now, we could start doing side quests. We just were given a quest called Boston After Dark. We need to give the prototype to Carrington. We could meet the crew, but we came here for a very specific reason. It's time to talk with Desdemona about the signal interceptor.
Listen up, everyone. This is the Wanderer. He did the switchboard op with Deacon. He's a full agent, effective immediately. I'm counting on each of you to show him the ropes. Feel free to welcome him aboard. That is all. Glad to have you aboard. Before you joined us, you wanted my help with something. I'm listening.
Can you take a look at these schematics? A scientist named Virgil said they could get me inside the Institute. All you need to know is there's a machine that can get me inside the Institute. Nothing. Never mind. I have plans here to build a signal interceptor that can get me into the Institute.
So that's what the Courser chip was all about. You needed that frequency, I take it. Why? What does this machine do?
I gotta weigh in. The only thing that matters is if you're gonna help me.
It seems we taught you the lesson about operational security too well. That's a smart call, Agent. But you still need to show these plans to Tinker Tom so we know how we can help you.
Did you know the Institute has a teleporter called the Molecular Relay? The Institute uses teleportation to get in and out. The interceptor can hijack their signal and send me instead.
We've spent dozens of years and too many good agents' lives only to discover not a goddamn thing. And now we have the answer, thanks to you. Teleportation. That the Institute could build something so... But we've got work to do.
I'm not sure I can explain how it works, but a former Institute scientist gave me these plans.
This is our top priority now. I want Tinker Tom to help you in any way possible to get this device built.
All right, we've got the green light from Desdemona. We can give Virgil's crudely drawn plans to Tinker Tom. If anyone can read them, he can.
Ready to hand over the plans? This is the big one.
Do you think you can decipher them?
I won't know until I get a look-see.
Not now.
All right. But Des wants this done ASAP. If this can get us into the Institute, it'll be a real game changer.
Hopefully it'll be easier than assembling Sean's crib. Here you go. Let's see what we need.
Hold on. Who wrote this? Some kid with a crayon? Shit. Must have been a real big kid.
Oh, man. Molecular transmission via encrypted RF waves. Those Institute eggheads are crazy. And you can divert the signal using a heavily modified relay interception. Like a pirate broadcast, you know? That's intense.
A lot is riding on this, Tom.
Yeah, all right.
Skip to the part where we build the thing, Tom. I knew you could figure it out, Tom. Can you build it, Tom?
The plans cover all the high-end egghead shit, but they're missing a ton of engineering details. Filling in the gaps will take time. This bit here, the stabilized reflector platform, just needs some high-grade metal. Easy. Psh, by the time you finish that, I'll have the rest done.
You'd better figure the rest out, Tom.
Man, I've done a whole lot more with a whole lot less, my friend.
Nice work, Tom. Glad you're on our side.
Hey, tell that to Carrington, though.
What's it gonna take to build it? So, the next step...
We can scrounge up the platform components you need. No problem. But where to build it? It's gonna need some serious space. This baby's big. I know Pam was running numbers on a good site for a new safe house. It's got a workshop, good location, and the full blessings of her predictive algorithms. Once you set up the safe house, we'll drop off the materials there. Or you could build your own platform somewhere else. I guess. Your call.
With that, he gives us the document, Items Needed, Reflector Platform. The stabilized reflector platform is mainly all about the metal. What we need specifically is 10 aluminum, 3 circuitry, and 5 steel. Tinker Tom. But as he said in his dialogue, he scrouches up all this material for us.
Once you set up the safe house, we'll drop off the materials there.
Of all the 3 factions, the Railroad is the only one that provides the materials we need to build the reflector platform. We don't have to scrounge them up ourselves. Like the others, we can build it at any settlement we have. But we can build a Railroad-specific settlement called a Mercer Safe House. To find out more about that, we get to meet Pam.
Confirmed. Agent Wanderer has arrived. I have a mission for you. Without increasing efficiency of synth traffic flow, odds of entire organization being compromised increase daily. Solution: a new distribution center needs to be established.
A distribution center? What's that?
The Railroad organization calls distribution centers safe houses. A place where synths are stored and then rerouted safely through the region known as the Commonwealth. Mission details commencing.
Yeah, just tell me what you want.
Mission details commencing.
I get to set up a new base. That's cool.
Agent's temperature is irrelevant to this conversation. Mission details commencing.
So give me the details.
Pacify the target location. Fortify position to protect current and future railroad assets. New distribution center will be codenamed Mercer Safe House. Good luck.
With that, she marks a location on our map where she wants us to set up a Mercer safe house. In this case, it was Hangman's Alley. There are 12 possible locations that the railroad can choose for a new Mercer safe house. The choice is based on our character's level, whether or not we've claimed that settlement already, and which railroad quests we've already completed. There are 4 settlement locations that have no level requirement: Hangman's Alley, the Red Rocket Truck Stop, the Starlight Drive-In, and the Sunshine Tidings Co-op. We have to be at least level 10 to get the Taffington Boathouse as a Mercer safe house, level 15 to get Outpost Zamonja, level 30 for Jamaica Plain, and we have to be at least level 40 to get Coastal Cottage, Croup Manor, or the Merkwater construction site. And we have to be at least level 45 to get the Kingsport Lighthouse or Spectacle Island. Heading towards Hangman's Alley, we can clear it of all of its raiders.
Nice.
Crack that in no time. Dust up to get the oil flowing, eh?
Upon clearing the settlement and claiming the workshop, we can scrap the place down to make room for the signal interceptor. Before this settlement can become a Mercer safe house to complete Pam's quest, we have to raise the settlement's defenses. We need to bring its defense level to 10, and we can do this with 2 small machine gun turrets. And when we've got enough floor space, we can build the reflector platform. While doing this, we get a visit from the caretaker.
Hi. Do you got a Geiger counter, bub?
The caretaker is a liaison sent by the railroad to facilitate the safe extraction of synths from the Institute back out into the world. The caretaker here can send us on a side quest for the railroad, but we'll tackle this quest and learn more about the caretaker in a subsequent episode. For the moment, we need to focus on our task at hand. With the reflector platform built, we can head back to the railroad HQ to talk with Tinker Tom.
Excuse me.
You got the platform built yet? Tick-tock, tick-tock. I'm waiting for the good news.
You figure out the rest of the plans?
Oh yeah, man. I squared away the science with the engineering. We should be in business, but I want to run the numbers again just to be sure. You finished the platform?
I'll get to it later.
No worries. Gives me more time to work the blueprints.
No, still working on it.
All right, I hear you. But once you do, check back with me. I'll fill you in on what I noodled out.
I did it. The platform's constructed.
And I filled in the blanks on the blueprints. We can actually build this crazy thing. The science of this monstrosity is wow. But fortunate for us, the ingredients pretty common. But there's 3 specialty items that I just can't grab from our safe houses. You find those, and we'll knock down the gates of hell.
How's the interceptor actually work?
Then let me impart some science to you. We got 4 main parts. Need a control console to input the code and process your biological information. No problem. Easy. Second up, a relay dish. That's the bit that intercepts the teleporter signal, man. A molecular beam emitter to, scramble your molecules up for the transmission. After that, just wire everything together on the same power grid, and boom! This thing's gonna suck up juice like a blood bug on a Brahmin.
I'll get started.
Yeah, the sooner the better.
I don't have time for a scavenger hunt.
There's only so far my miraculous ingenuity can go, my friend. I got needs.
Thanks, Tom. I'll find them.
I don't doubt it for 1 minute. After you get the gettables, meet me at the build site.
With that, he gives us the document, Signal Interceptor, Items Needed. Hopefully these parts aren't too hard to come by. Best guess of where to find them enclosed. Military-grade circuit board, try old military bases. Biometric scanner, hospitals and clinics are your best bet. Sensor module, look in radio stations, radar sites, etc. You get me the goods and I'll whip up a miracle. Tinker Tom. And just like with working with the Minutemen or the Brotherhood of Steel, we now have to track down a biometric scanner, military-grade circuit board, and sensor module. But remember, the sensor module isn't actually used. But with the railroad, all of the other materials, including the materials necessary to build all of the generators we need to power the sucker, are deposited into the Mercer safe house. We don't have to scrounge for any of those materials. That makes building the signal interceptor with the railroad easier than working with any of the other factions. Once we have all the materials, it's time to get to work. And Hangman Zell, he is a bit cramped. It's not a pretty setup here, but I did manage to get everything built and wired up. When done, Tinker Tom appears and Desdemona appears, and she has a secret to reveal.
We are in business.
Status report.
We got activity, Des. Not sure how long before it peaks.
The Institute is a huge unknown. Before we can make any plans, you need to do something. What I'm about to tell you is the most closely guarded secret the Railroad has. It's time you learn about Patriot.
Patriot? Seriously? Who chooses these code names anyway?
Your sarcasm is noted.
The focus should be on the Institute, not this Patriot.
Just listen for a moment. It's important.
I like the name. Sounds encouraging. Patriot.
There's a man, or woman, we're not sure, inside the Institute who helps synths escape to freedom. Dozens of synths owe him their lives. We don't know his name. We've never had a way to contact him, so we gave him the code name, Patriot. If your plan works, and you're able to get inside the Institute, we need you to make contact.
How can I contact him if you know nothing about him?
Patriot devised a method to communicate with us one way. The plan hinges on us using this method to close the loop and contact him back.
That's not much to go on. I might not be able to find him.
You have to try.
I can't risk that. I need to find my son.
I'm confident you can find a way to do both. I leave it to your discretion.
Okay. I'll do my best.
Tom's encrypted a message for Patriot's eyes only. Once he sees it, he'll contact you. Until you make contact, and probably after, you need to stay in their good graces. You need to infiltrate them. Can you do that? Can you be our agent on the inside?
How do I infiltrate them?
You're going to have to sell them a lie. It's best to stick as close to the truth as possible. And you're going to have to think on your feet. We don't know what's waiting for you. If you make it at all.
This whole thing makes me uncomfortable.
We don't have a lot of options.
I'm no good at lying.
Do your best, and hold out as long as you can. We can't ask for anything more.
Bring it on.
You can do this. I believe in you. Stand on the platform and I'll give you the holotape. Just plug it into any Institute terminal and wait for the reply. Tom, talk to me.
Booting up the scan sequence. This frequency is only going to work once. You know who doesn't make the same mistake twice.
With that, all we need to do is stand on the platform and, hopefully, we'll appear in the Institute. And now, at last, we've built the signal interceptor with all three factions. In our next episode, we'll use the signal interceptor to arrive at the Institute and find Sean. I publish new Fallout videos each and every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss that episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do, and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members get little badges that appear next to their names in the comment sections of my videos, and access to Ox emojis that they can use in my video comments and in the live chats of my live streams. If you like seeing my live streams here on YouTube and my uploaded videos, and you want to ensure that I keep on doing it for the foreseeable future, membership really counts. And you can always throw me a thanks by sending me a super thanks in the comments. I deeply appreciate it. Now, I have a lot of recording to do to prepare for the next episode, so it might take me more than a week. But never fear, I'll be back soon to continue our search for Sean. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.
Find a way to save them. Nobody else can.